in action.
You filming now?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a keystone ring. You know what a keystone ring means?
I do not.
When you make an arch in old buildings back in the olden days, the keystone is the top rock that's angled like this.
Okay.
So you build up on the side, you put the keystone in it, then you can put a million pounds on top and then break.
Oh yeah.
So see the cross section of that ring?
Oh yeah.
That's what they call the keystone ring. So that goes into here. And that does not look tapered at all. $108 and out the tip. 115. So is that wear or is it made that way? Probably worn that much.
Yeah.
92. That one's not worn. Maybe it is made that way. That's a lot. 10 thou. That's made that way. Got 10 thou. The keystone's way more than 10 thou though. Look at it. So you measure that, you get 87. 108. So it's 20 thou the keystone cut. You get 10 thou in the groove. So I'm not sure which side goes up or down. I didn't pay attention, did you?
I did not.
Either. In order to work correctly, you would think it would go down. That way you got the air can get behind it and blow the ring down, which is how it seals. It seals against the bottom, not the top. Put it like this, pressure would push down on it all, and it'd be a thin edge in here, and it would wear the piston up pretty heavily.
Okay.
But it does have a steel insert, so maybe make it that way. I don't know. Maybe I had to flip it over. But that's what do I know? Okay, this ring here, it's our second ring. Carbon off it so you can see how it's made. So this has a lip worn into this one. See a lip right there?
Yeah.
It's worn. You got a ring worn that much, that's a lot of wear. We had that one bad pass and piston, one good piston too. Okay, let's see what the other rings look like. This is the I know the second one is thinner than the top one. So this one's obviously a keystone also. See how it's made?
Yeah.
But that groove is straight. So I'm guessing that top ring just worn that much. But it's got a steel liner in it. You wouldn't think it'd be worn. Alright, so the double keystone. Diesel motors are made like this. So airplane motors are basically 40s tractor motors.
Okay.
Maybe 50 if you're lucky. So very crude, very heavy duty built. So low power, run forever. Kind of what you want an airplane motor to be. No power, run forever. Just the opposite of what I like. Haul ass and blow up. Well, you got speed, you got pressure, you go down.
Right.
You're all right. Land quickly. But that's me. The oil ring is a groove. The channel cross section. Where's the oil ring? There it is. It's a channel cross section. And it's like an I-beam. See, it's got a channel on this side, round here, square cut here.
Yeah.
So you got two rails that are doing the scraping. The oil goes through the slots in here to get through the holes, which only had two. Very crude.
Okay.
Most modern pistons have lots of holes in them. And then it has one big ass round coil spring in here that goes in the middle of the groove to put pressure on it. So coil spring is really hard to break, very strong. It's got a large surface area contact to wear with the round groove, so it's very reliable. Puts a lot of tension on it too, but it's expensive to make compared to a modern, automotive or motorcycle ring where they're just a channel like that, spring woven material.
Right.
Just a lot more robust. Cost more too. Being airplane rings, these probably cost $100 a piece.
Wow.
At least, if not more per ring. We're not going to use those. Not even close. Okay, this is a Mall Motorsports. These are some of the best pistons made. I'm thinking we're going to make them more like these. Because I don't care if it blows up. I'm already on the ground. So this makes a diesel piston look modern. That's how bad it is. Yeah, this is a modern piston. Oh, it's made. So they look a little different.
Definitely.
Not just the size, but the way they're made. This is really light. This is extremely heavy. A little different weight. So this needs to be made more like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in our milling machine. And we're going to blow off a bunch of this material we don't need. We're going to cut that sucker off right to that. Get rid of all of that material. Now I might cut into here a little bit, but we're just mocking up. We're going to make a piston for design engineering purposes.
Alright.
Which means we're going to lighten this thing up a bunch. It doesn't need to be much longer than the just past here. So this much can go away. This can be cut right up to here just about. It's cut fairly far out, but it can go a little more if we wanted to. You can see how these are made. There's very little material on them.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking. Now this is a big stroker piston. See how it went in the O-ring here? So this is very low compression height, so that's too little for me to look at. So you can see how the O-rings are all like it's made like a stroker motor already.
Yeah.
It's just the rings are really fat. So 3/16 is a nice fat ring. These are fatter. Not by much. 196. It's pretty close to 3/16, so that actually isn't bad. So we can use that as a standard to work from because it's pretty close to 3/16. Looks like it's probably just worn. It's probably a 3/16 groove, just worn way up. These are 190, 192. These are extremely narrow. See how narrow they are?
Yeah.
116. Harley pistons over here. See the fat groove? 194. 190, so it's just worn. It's a 3/16 groove.
Okay.
So instead of running a piston like that, we can run a mounted ring in this one. This ring here. It's already made like a stroker piston, which is good. Now the wrist pin's way bigger than I need, so I'm going to bush that down to a smaller size so I can use it for a mock-up. We got a second ring that is very fat. Big gap between the second and first, and another fat ass ring. So basically I can cut this thing off flush as a mock-up height, which would give me a compression height of 1/400. This compression height here is 1/470. See?
Yeah.
So then I make this 1/500. Would be a good starting point for the big size piston. So I'll cut it off to there. So we'll just blow off that extra material out of there. We don't need it.
Alright.
So that gives me the dome drop down in height. And then I'm mocking up what a modern piston would be like, not this piece of crap.
Okay.
I'm going to have to make a bush in here to sleeve it down to the Harley size, so I can just use a Harley pin in there. Get rid of this big thick ass thing.
Okay.
I'm not going to use that boat anchor wrist pin that weighed like 5 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
So we're going to put this thing on a diet. Now this is our good piston. This one over here had some issues with it. It's got a real textured finish where it's had some material running around inside of here. So that means one of those cylinders is going to be kind of beat up. And then also it's got a lot of detonation issues too. Look at the wear on this thing. See, that's all eaten out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be straight like this. It's had a lot of issues with wear. A lot of detonation. That's all detonation because the piston's not worn over here. But it's definitely eaten out over here. And this motor had a broken crankcase, remember?
Yes.
It broke a rod in there, I bet, from detonation.
Okay.
But it was not running good on one of the cylinders.
Clearly.
It would have been this one. So this is the perfect one to cut the dome off and play around with it because it's already jumped. So we're going to do a little playing around on that. We're going to fab up a little bit thinner piston. We might shorten it down a little bit because it doesn't need to be that high. Not real high, but we can bring it down a little bit if we want. Or we can leave it, it doesn't matter. But look how thick that is. So we can definitely way thicker than it needs to be. But this is for mock-up, it doesn't matter if it's thick right there for mock-up. So being thick like this, I probably can chuck this up in my lathe, I bet, right up in here. And actually turn it around. So that's nice. I'll cut this thing off. I'll cut this dome off, get it thinned up, make some bushings, cut this corner away. It'll start to look like a more modern looking device like this. More modern piston. Now the other option is I can leave the dome on there, and I can make a dome piston out of it.
Oh yeah.
Like that too. So now I got a built-in dome.
Perfect.
Ram that up in there and I can get that thing up to a lot higher comparison than it is now. Because right now it's 7 to 1.
That's low.
Yeah. So if I make this into a dome piston and jam our way up in there, we can improve that quite a bit. So I think I will do that. We got a lot of material here to play with.
Yeah.
And I can always make two. I can make one flat top, one dome. It's optional.
Perfect.
Okay, so I like this design, but it's way too short of compression height. But we're going to run real narrow rings like this on that big ass motor. So the stack height in here doesn't need to be any thickness at all in there.
Okay.
We can run the stack height down to, I could easily make it 1 inch tall. That part there can be 1 inch, but it gets 800 right now. But, this is plenty enough here to run on, but we can make it a little bit thicker in here. It's pretty thin. We can make it thicker. So we'll play around that. We can make that whatever we want it to be. And play with it. If you're going to make a piston, you can do what you want.
All right.
That's those. All right. So where's our seal? Now we know we got one good one, one bad one now. We knew it blew out the back one, so this was number 1 cylinder, or number 4 cylinder. This is 1. So maybe this is a bad cylinder because we had a bad piston, right?
Yeah.
So if he didn't mix, this should be the bad cylinder. But that one had a lot more wear on it.
That's right, it did.
So now we know we're looking for a bad cylinder. See if we can identify a bad one. They look pretty similar. I see no evidence of debris running around inside this motor. Now, he could have very easily mixed up these pistons because the pistons are just laying in the boxes. So I'm guessing these cylinders did not have a bunch of debris running around them, inside of them. And you see that black line in there?
Yeah. Down towards the bottom.
It's about a 1/4 inch from where it should be. See, I can pop that piston all the way up and past that edge. Take full advantage of the cylinder length.
Yeah.
Stroke it. And you got plenty of clearance above. Now it's got some kind of a radius in here. Finish. What you have to do is kind of like duplicate that. So the easiest way to duplicate that is to clean the cylinder, get all the crap out of there, blast it. Try not to stay off the smooth part, but it's going to get some in there. But see, this has a real bad groove in it, so. These are both got pretty heavy grooving in them. So when I make piston, I'll probably want to make them like 20 thou bigger, because these have pretty good grooving in them. You know, if they're worn. So I'm going to blast it clean. You take a piece of clay and jam it in there, and then pull it back up, and you can get a profile of what the shape is.
Oh, okay.
And if I make the dome of this piston and cut it the same shape as that, then you can run that damn piston there pretty deep. Because I bet you these valves don't open very much. Probably not a lot of cam timing. Of course, I probably will increase that when I build it, but I can make this compression a lot higher. You know, you can bump this thing up a lot by moving the piston up a 1/4 inch taller, having a dome on it. If the valves don't ever open hardly at all and no overlap, you can have the piston stick way up in there and put a lot of compression in this motor, make it run better. That in itself will pick up 100 horsepower at least in this motor, because you only put out 320 with a turbo on it,
Oh, wow.
which ain't nothing. Pretty low. Alright, so I think these are about equally how they're worn. It's hard to tell which one's worse. Yeah. About the same. So I think I'll work on number 4, because it's the dirtiest one. And we'll clean it up and play with it and see what we come up with. Try to make it where it's going to be, get it clean in there so we can see what we're working with, and try to make a custom dome that will fit in there, and that way we can see what we got to do. We'll try to build some compression in this motor without doing much customizing to it. And I want to keep this for later, put that in the spare parts department.
Spare parts.
That's our junk box. Now we still need a full set of rock arms and rocker shafts and covers and all that stuff we don't have. So if anybody's got that stuff floating around, we need it. So this is a Continental 520, 560 motor. Or 550, what was it, 550? It might have been 550. 550 cubic inch, big motor. All we got is valves and everything else. So we need everything. Everything's missing. Well, this one's not all corroded like this other one was. Well, this one's a little bit worse. They have these fancy gaskets. So you need to make gaskets like these for Harleys, but they cost too much.
That'd be nice.
It's the copper gaskets. They had one I saw that had like a billows in it. This one looks like it's solid, but it's got to have some compressibility in it. This would help stop some exhaust gasket problems from Harley, but it's a Harley, they don't care. Now I'm going to blast the ports out so I can see in there, and can't see stuff when it's all black and carbony in there, so we'll clean this up a little bit and we'll be back.